I'm Ayla.
Hi, I'm Beth Ann.
And this is Let's Talk BL, a Boys Love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It is Sunday, Series Sunday, the day of the week where we talk all about one series and one series only, chock full of spoilers. So, if you haven't watched this show, go to YouTube, pay Star Hunter, and watch the show.
First of all, you should pay Star Hunter anyways because the content behind that paywall is absolute gold.
Yes.
And
it's subbed.
One of the little golden pieces behind that paywall is this show. And when we were like, okay, what series can we do this week? Because nothing is ending, right? We typically try and do like new shows that have just ended. But we're like, everything ends next week.
I know, everything's like an episode away.
Right, everything's like one to three.
Already ended last week.
Right, everything's like 1 to 3 episodes away. And so we're like, what do we do? And so we were trying to think through, we were like, okay, what's a show that we love that's like older that we haven't talked about yet? But at this point, we've done over 60 series Sundays.
Out of control.
So we've talked about most of our favorite series. And so you brought up, you were like, have we done this show? And my knee-jerk reaction was like,
yes, we absolutely.
I was like, because in my brain, I was like, of course we did this show because
about it all the time.
We talk about it all the time. And especially in season 1 and season 2, we were like, this is the most underrated show that has ever been produced. Like, it is perfect. It is magical. It's such an easy watch. Like, it is up there for me with like ingredients.
Yeah.
In terms of like, it's an easy watch. It makes you happy and fuzzy and warm everything. So I was like, of course we've done this show. And then I was like, let me go find it. Cause I was like, it'd be funny to like hear what I said about it back in like season 1 or whatever. And I was like, no, we haven't done it. And we were like, okay, we need to, because we not only have had an evolution with this show, because I recently rewatched it before even preparing for this, because everyone knows why. And so like my journey with the show has like, or like my feelings about the show are renewed and like evolved.
I really loved this show when it came out, and I feel like I told you almost immediately you had to watch the show.
Yeah, I watched it really, really early on.
Because it's sugar-coated sugar.
It truly is the most sugar, like there are bunnies. Anyways, today we are talking about The Moment, which includes The Moment I Need You and The Moment Since.
Of course, still on our Star Hunter agenda.
Always on that Star Hunter agenda.
Because when we find an agenda, we know how to stick to an agenda.
Yeah. And in case you're wondering, we are indeed also still on that You Are My Sky, Jude My Katong Fa agenda as well.
Always.
And there's a fun little Star Hunter, You Are My Sky connect.
I know.
That like, we were like, okay, this is like made for us.
Yes.
We found our people.
It's true. Okay, let's get to nuts and bolts.
Let's do it.
So, how do you want to do this? Do you want to talk about them individually?
Yeah, I think we talk individually because there was a little bit, I mean, there's a whole ass time jump and the evolution between the characters and their relationship is very like drastic from one to the other.
Starting with The Moment I Need You.
Yes.
February 2020. Superboy had just ended.
We were in the Superboy golden era.
The pandemic was right ahead of us.
It was so soon.
And KO had collected these boys and was like, okay, now you need to kiss.
We were given one last ray of sunshine before the pandemic came down on all of us.
That's so true. And so, The Moment I Need You.
We've already mentioned that it is available on YouTube behind the Star Hunter paywall. So go to Star Hunter, subscribe. The way that you do that, you have to do it on a desktop, which is kind of confusing. The first time I ever tried to subscribe to channels, I was like, why isn't this an option for me? I thought I was like locked out or something. It's because you have to do it on the desktop. So you go to the desktop, you go to the Star Hunter YouTube channel, you try not to get distracted by the Take You Down cover. And then after you've watched that like 5 times, then you go back to the Star Hunter page and you click memberships, and that's where you can join.
You can access it on the app once you've signed
you've signed up.
But you can't sign up on the app. Which is, it seems
YouTube,
so
get it together.
Seriously. Okay, it stars as Bay. Sweet Pond. The very first boy that we ever bought merch from.
Yes, and I bought the merch.
God, that's what we were supposed to wear.
Oh, right. Oops. I was just really, I have hard eyes and am like so locked onto Big Tanateep that I was like, of course I need a dress like Big Tanateep. Anyways,
We should cut for part 2 and go change our shirt.
we should. That would
Let's
be
do that.
cute.
Okay.
So I can tell this little merch story since you brought it up.
Yeah.
First boy we ever bought merch from, and I was brave enough because I remember we're still like timid about it back then.
Yeah.
You were like, I don't know, I don't really want to do it. And I was like, what's he gonna do? He's in Thailand. Like, tell me no. Like, I don't know this kid. It's no big deal.
Because it's such a foreign concept that
It's
you
so
like
weird
you
the first time
basically
you
like
do it.
text a person and you're like, hey, I want to buy some t-shirts.
Yeah, it's so weird and confusing the first time you do it. And so Pawn obviously is like, he's running his own line account for Heartlands, which is the brand. And so like I remember like I lined and I did it all in English and I was like, we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
God, this is so long ago. And I remember it was a weekend and I was wearing my Apple Watch, which is now your Apple Watch. We're in the process of getting me a new one.
Oh, nice.
But I felt like the buzz on my hand and I looked at it because anybody who has an Apple Watch knows that like it's just constantly buzzing on your arm, especially if you're on social, right? Because like,
oh yeah, for sure,
all the notifs like buzz. So I just like, whatever. Like I looked at it real quick and it was the morning for me, which meant I knew it was like nighttime in Thailand.
Yeah.
And I see that it's the Heartlamps line, and it's the first time I'd ever been lined back, and I almost started crying, and I started having like a panic attack. Like my heart was beating so fast. I was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" Because I had watched this show, and from the moment I watched this show, the moment that Pawn was on screen, I feel like I should have tried to find the text that I sent you. I don't even know if it's still in our messages.
I know. I was trying to figure out when I told you about the show and like when we talked about it, because I did look up Heartlands in our messages and I couldn't find it.
Because I remember texting you and being like, this boy, this one, I can already tell. So I love Pawn. And now that I've watched Superboy, I love Pawn even more. But like, I remember like having this very, very cute conversation with him because it was him about purchasing these shirts. And then like the shirts came in and we wore them. We did a beach frolic in the shirts.
Did. Oh my gosh. We like truly, I feel like it's a rite of passage for any BL fan to download the Line application.
Yes.
And then for us, the beginnings of the podcast, it's funny
that weekend, the weekend that we had that beach frolic was the weekend we started the pod, or that like we decided we were going to start a podcast.
Yeah, and truly it was like, to look back, we have done many a photo shoot since then, but truly that we started that, like we planned the podcast that weekend. We talked through everything. I mean, it all started with Pawn.
It was so funny too because we're doing these pictures on the beach because we want to take pictures in the shirts because we're like, we're gonna post them, and we were like so excited about it. And
Let's Talk BL always does in true bonus Tanadek fashion, goes 110%.
110%.
And bonus too.
We have like the phones in the sand and we're using like the Apple Watch to do the timer in the Jersey Shore. So and funny. Like we're getting bit by like sand ants, and it was miserable, but the pictures are really cute.
They are cute. We should post them for this.
Oh, we could. Close friends.
Okay. It also stars Big Tanateep.
Truly my first Star Hunter love.
Mox.
So I thought when I watched the show and Pawn came on screen, I was like, this boy, and then Big Tanateep came on screen.
You didn't even know he was a ballroom dancer at the time.
I didn't.
He hadn't tick-a-tock it into your heart yet.
There was, well, he drank his way into my heart. That's basically, he was clinging into my heart.
Yeah.
I was so entranced by him. I was like,
so good.
yes. And so like the evolution with Big Tanateep has been so funny. Like now that I think back about it, because I just had hard eyes for him from the moment I saw him in this this show. And then I watched The Moment Since and I had even bigger hard eyes for him because once we get to The Moment Since, oh my God.
Truly.
And then I kind of like, my BL world expanded and I still had such a soft spot in my heart for him. Anytime he would pop up on my stuff, I'd be like, oh my God.
He's so cute.
And then we went to go interview Element and I went in there thinking Tora is my favorite. Bank Tora.
Right.
Bank Be Song.
Yes.
But little did I know Nong Bank Be Nung was still, because we sat down and as soon as the words the moment came, because you were talking to
Yeah.
him about it, came out of your mouth, I had this like visceral reaction. And it's super funny. If you go back and watch that interview, you can see my hard eyes for Tanateep. Just like I look like a cartoon character.
Ugh.
Truly. And
I forgot how much I love this show.
the moment you said the moment, it's just like something happened in my body, and I was like oh my God. And I lost
he's so
it.
sweet in that show.
And yeah, I banked Tanateep, and he's such a good actor, and we're gonna get into that. But oh my God, these two.
There are so many moments now in our over like a year and a half journey with this podcast that when I first got into BL, Star Hunter was like my jam. I love Kim Cop from the jump. I loved the moment since. Like I watched
Copter was the first way that you tried to get me into BL.
Yeah, I watched Gen Y as it was airing. Like that truly, Star Hunter was my
Now I know why you have such issues.
It's true. And so for us to have this evolution with Star Hunter has been like mind-blowing. It makes absolutely no sense.
And we in fact have even more Star Hunter boys in this show.
Oh my gosh.
Please continue.
It also stars Jet as Boston.
I love him.
He plays such a cranky character. I love Boston because
he plays like a sassy character.
Obviously, like if you don't get the boy, like you're upset. And so the fact that he's grumpy
we'll get into the character
time is amazing.
But Jet is very sweet and like giggly. So this is he's like a Bang Tanateep where he plays the opposite of himself.
Yes. Yeah. We also get an appearance by another Superboy, Fergie.
Fergie
plays Kaizen.
The only Superboy to never mind.
Oh my God. No. Then we have another Actually, they're all Superboys.
They're all Superboys.
What am I talking about?
This show was made for Superboy, which I love. And interestingly, this I believe was Star Hunter's first BL.
Yeah, I think so.
The moment paved the way. Like this was pre-Gen Y.
Because Star Hunter started as a music entertainment, and
right
in Superboy, you hear them say, "We are now Star Hunter Entertainment."
Yeah, because they had pulled over Baz Kim Cop and Tay from Two Moons. Yeah. And they turned them into a boy band, and they hadn't got them acting yet because we all know, listen, everybody knows the conspiracy theory about Gen Y and Two Moons and how they're connected and all of that business. But like that hadn't happened yet.
Right.
So the moment and the moment since were actually like this was the first BL storyline from Star Hunter. Truly, these boys paved the way.
They did for so many things.
Yeah.
It also stars good old God as Blink,
which is why I rewatched this the first time recently because I was on my journey of rewatching everything Gad had ever been in.
So good.
Shout out to his fan club for posting that little like meat commercial that he did back in the day. Because now I've seen I have seen everything that Gad has ever been in as far as I can find, including when he competed in his university's like Star and Moon competition.
Ayla's a very busy person, but she finds the time to devote to this boy. Amazing.
I hate him.
Then it stars Tongue as Boo.
I love Tongue. Tongue is my Superboy spirit animal.
He just showed up in Big Dragon.
Awesome. And he's my Superboy spirit animal. The way that he handled himself on Superboy, but especially in that finale.
He was so excited for all the boys.
And truly, like, he is you as the viewer. Anyways, Tongue is fantastic. He's also so talented.
Okay, synopsis time.
Okay.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I have not looked at this in advance. I'm back on that agenda. Okay. Moment of happiness. The moment that makes your heart beat faster. A young veterinarian travels to a mountain hotel to help his broken heart heal. But nature leads to a new moment with someone who has never thought of it before.
What? Nature leads
it is in quotation marks. Okay. Sorry, I'm still on the it.
I don't understand. Nature leads to a new moment with someone who has never thought of it before.
Because it's in quotes.
I don't understand what it means.
Fresh wounds scar the heart that hopes for natural healing, but instead finds a new moment that causes the heart to skip a beat.
That synopsis broke my brain.
Listen, it's actually it's a good, it's not a bad synopsis compared to
No.
some of the other ones.
But it tells you how ridiculous this show is.
I disagree. I don't think the show's ridiculous at all. I don't understand what you're talking about.
I do love that Mock went to the mountains
Yes,
to
for healing.
escape his broken heart, and his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend followed them.
Who's also his friend, which like the drama of that one.
drama.
I kind of wish the show had been longer so that we could have gotten like introduced to Tanateep first
Yeah.
and like known what went on with that drama.
Truly.
Yeah.
'Cause
Fergie always stealing the girls in all the shows. He does it in Gen Y too.
Yeah, because it almost came to blows with Fergie and Tanateep.
Yes. Which listen, Tanateep as Sandy and Gen Y also gets in physical altercations a lot. Poor Tanateep just has to fight everyone all the time in every
So
show he's
wild.
in. But he's very good at it.
Yes. Because he's so sweet and gentle and wonderful IRL.
That it's a completely different character for him. Yeah.
So what made us fall head over heels in love with Pawn the second we laid our eyes on him is first the hair in the show.
His hair in this show is
superb.
so good.
And as a little bartender,
I was gonna say it was the shaking of the cocktail for me. It was the shaking of the cocktail for me.
Also, this is one of the first BLs I think I watched that was set not at a school.
Yeah, it's set. They're grown-ups. They're
the
adults.
Moment paved the way for so many things.
Yeah, this show is so good because people are always complaining about how like all of these are in shows or all of these are in schools and we need to grow up and this is why we like this and that so much, blah blah blah. The moment every single person in this show is a full adult. And like they have real jobs. Like one of them is a bartender at a hotel. The other one's a veterinarian. Like everyone, even God and Tongue, they're employees at the hotel.
Yeah.
Jet is the hotel owner.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about like legitimate like adult people in this show, which is like groundbreaking. Damn.
And I just love that it's love at first sight.
Oh, fully.
For Tanateep.
Yes.
Because
which I really appreciate that because same like as soon as Pawn popped on that screen and he's like shaking the little cocktail and being so cute, it was love at first sight for me too. So like relatable.
The first season is so comical for so many reasons because in the first episode, Mock gets drunk and Bae has to carry him to his room like a good hotel employee bartender does.
Although we find out in the second episode it was a fake drunk because like he had switched out the vodka for water.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there are 100 fall almost kisses.
Almost kisses. The almost kisses are my favorite part in the show.
When Bae gets Mock to the room and he lays him on the bed and Mock just proceeds to strip is the funniest moment because he's so like, funny. What is happening?
He's so confused and just like weirded out, and it's like finally an appropriate reaction because I feel like in so many series like that would happen and there would be like a sponge bath and it would be a whole thing. No. In this case, like, he fully is like,
I love it so much.
And then but even before that, he says, please don't leave me. I mean, somebody who I'd
be snuggling right up there next to him.
I am a diehard Hunger Games fan, and so like if you have read those books, like you understand why anytime any line along those lines like comes up, I immediately am like, oh,
so good.
And so like when he says that, I immediately like imprinted on him. I was like, never leave him.
I mean, truly in that moment, I think Bae is like, I must take this boy under my wing and heal him.
Yes.
Because for the next episode.
Oh, and then he like clings on him and he like, we get a back hug immediately.
I mean,
obviously.
Because then like.
Oh, actually also in this scene, my favorite part of this whole scene is when he like grabs onto his leg and he's like, don't leave me. It's so funny. Like that scene is so comedic.
Yeah,
it's so good.
The show is subtly funny in so many ways.
Yeah,
because I think that we get the introduction that Boston has a thing for Bae in the first episode, because when Bae takes Mock to his room, you see Boston like so mad.
Oh, he's so mad.
He's so upset.
Although potentially it's because he owns the hotel and he's concerned about liability issues.
No.
Of like, is my employee about to like do something weird with this drunk
His
guest?
cute little employee has fallen for the cute little vet, and he's like, oh,
he's so cute though.
Gone. And so then in episode 2, because these episodes are so short, there's only 4 episodes.
Yes.
They're so short.
So short.
And
you can literally watch it in like less than half a day.
Yeah. In episode 2, Bay is like, I can heal your heart. And he takes them to watch the stars.
I know, they lay down and watch the stars together. And like, I remember the very first time I watched this, I was like, again, the moment that makes your heart beat faster, I was like, like my heart was fluttering.
And I wrote this down because I was like, I cannot not say this. Mock in episode 2, 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the next night that they had
met,
they've
known each other for 48 hours.
He goes, thank you. I have never felt so happy like this before.
He's so dramatic. I love it so much.
Speaking of dramatic,
but also I will say in his defense, in Mock's defense, Bay has fully planned this because he takes him to this little star watching spot and he's like, it's all lit up, and he's like, this is gonna be magic. Or it's not lit up yet, and he's like, this is gonna be magical. Right, and then the lights go down, and then the lights go down. He's like,
he's taking him to a spot.
He has chosen this like specific spot at this exact moment to like create this magical star watching moment. Right. Okay, like my guy is just as head over heels.
Well, no, he's taking him to where he goes because he's like, this is where I go.
Right. So he's like, planned this
come with
because he's just as head over heels. He is like,
truly,
and he knows because he goes there all the time, right? So he's like, I'm gonna take him the most romantic.
They is so extra this whole series because in the next episode,
the bunnies. Oh my god!
But I think what I love is it in this episode where we also get the dramatic taking of the pills, but not really taking the pills.
Actually, that's the only scene in the show that you're
like, what are we doing
that
here?
I'm like, why is this needs to be written out? Like, this was poor choice.
Funny. Yeah,
this is not funny. This is not smart. This is not like,
I don't know why we did it.
Yeah, it's a big fat no for me on that one, Star Hunter. I love you, but
so then Ep 3, we get
the bunnies.
The bunnies.
The bunnies. The bunnies. The bunnies. The bunnies. Oh my god.
We got the bunnies because Bay is like, I will make you happy. I will make you smile 10 times.
He's like, I want to show you something. And they get to this like camper in the woods. Although I didn't realize that they were supposed to be in the mountains. I guess I maybe should have. And so like, so KO, who owns Star Hunter, is from Chiang Mai. Do you think that like KO owns this hotel or something? And that's why we like,
I absolutely hope so.
Do you think we all went to Chiang Mai? Do you think we went to Chiang Mai?
Oh my god. Well, because this whole show in part 1 is the mountains and part 2 is
they
Tule.
go to the beach. But they Pukao Rutule. But like, do you think we went to Chiang Mai and like God got to see his mom and dad?
Oh my god.
Because God's also from Chiang Mai. I think Tung's from Chiang Mai too. Tung is from Chiang Mai too.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure Tung's from Chiang Mai.
Oh, cool.
Or wait, is Jet from either Tung or Jet is, because remember that episode of Superboy when their moms come, and one of them, it's Jet and Tung's moms, and one of them during that conversation is like, "Oh, you're from the mountain." So not both of them are from, but I don't remember if it's Jet or Tung. Yeah.
So we get,
anyways,
we get bunnies.
So special.
It's the cutest thing ever.
It truly, they walk into like a clearing, and there's a yellow camper, and it is the cutest thing I've ever seen. And he opens the camper door, and this camper is filled with bunnies. And then we proceed to have like a 5-minute long scene of Bank Tanateep playing with bunnies. And I swear to God, this is like how when like somebody posts like a picture of like a puppy and a kitten in a shoe or like that kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like it is just like the softest, fluffiest. It's the closest to Bank Tanateep that Tanateep gets to get in this show with this character.
So much.
I think if I ever saw being Tanateep actually playing with bunnies with my own eyes, I would pass away.
Yes.
I would just, my heart wouldn't be, it's not that my heart wouldn't be able to handle it, it's that my heart would explode in my chest
Yes.
and I would pass away.
For sure. And so episode 3, we get this sweet little like bonding moment. And
So
then
sweet.
Ep 4, or is it the end of Ep 3 going into Ep 4, we have the like 9th hour.
We have a cursed episode.
We
which,
have the
you know,
we have the
Yeah.
conversation between the ex-girlfriend
yes.
and Mock, which of course Bay oversees from
Well,
his
he
perch
sees them. So Bay sees them
into the
go
hotel room.
go into his hotel room,
Right.
right? And so like he doesn't know what's gonna go on, but
Obviously, they're
in
banging.
true BL boy fashion, he assumes that he's gotten back
Overreacts.
together with this
and then
girl,
he disappears.
right?
And the whole episode is Mock wistfully looking for his
Yeah.
boy that changed his heart with bunnies.
Yeah.
And so, of course,
And he's so upset. He's like asking around. He at some point he asks Jet, the hotel owner who
Yes.
has a thing for Bay,
yes,
where he is. And there's like, oh, also like we totally skipped over, but God and Tongue, their characters are constantly like they're the best comedic relief in this show because they're basically the viewer.
Yeah.
And so they'll have these little side conversations
Right.
as they're like watching them interact, and they're like,
so good.
do they know how obvious they're being? Like they basically have those kinds of conversations.
And at one point they're playing guitar and singing in the background.
In the background, yes.
They do the OST.
They do the OST. The OST is beautiful because of course it is.
Obviously.
God has the voice of an angel.
Tongue should always be the guitar player for whatever boy needs to sing in a show.
Yes. And also when Fergie and Tanateep almost get into a fight, they have to break it up, which is like the funniest sort of it's like
so good.
It's like the funniest, klutziest, like silly boys trying to break up a fight. It's like you almost can't take it seriously, but then you're also concerned for them because you're like, you're not equipped for this.
No.
So like their characters add some really fun comedic relief, even though this show's already comedic, because it very much like they almost break the fourth wall because at one point they have a conversation where they like they're just standing there, right? Because they're like, maybe like concierge. Like I'm not sure what exactly they are, but they're just sort of like standing to the side in the bar area, like I guess waiting for somebody to need. Maybe they're like bellboys. I don't know.
Maybe.
And they're watching Tanateep and Pawn, and they have this side conversation. They're watching Mock and Bay, and they're having this side conversation, and they're like, it's so funny because at one point, like, they're both just watching, like, they never take their eyes from him, and like, at one point, God like leans over, and they just start like talking about how ridiculous these two are acting, and how obvious it is, and how, like, and it's so funny because it's like, yeah, how can they not see that they're being so ridiculous and over the top and stupid? And so like that's a really fun moment in the show.
That's always fun in BLs when you have a character that's like, come on guys, what are you doing?
This is so obvious.
Because you as the viewer are like, yes, thank you. At least there's someone with the voice of reason in this show.
And in this show it's God.
Lord of mercy.
Actually, Sansab always has the voice of reason too in Gen Y.
True.
Oh my God. Is God like wise?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
So yeah, at the very last moment of Ep 4, we've
ordered a limousine from GSB. GSB!
Truly the product placement. Also, fun little throwback in Ep 1 at the front desk of this hotel, for some reason there's a Baz cardboard cutout in the background.
Because why wouldn't there be? I feel like every hotel should have a Baz cardboard cutout on hand.
The show just missed Tao Kanoi. Why weren't they getting that? I guess
maybe Tao Kanoi hadn't bought into the whole BL thing yet.
They had already spent all their money on Superboy.
True. Tao Kanoi is a big Superboy sponsor.
Those 5 boys Tao Kanoi for a year.
I think one of them might still be eating on it. I feel like one of them has talked about. I think it's Tora that like still has some.
I love that.
Yeah.
So then we get the very first Pinky Promise.
The last Pinky Promise.
When was the first one?
Earlier. They're always so they pinky promise under the stars. I don't remember what they're pinky promising about. They pinky promise with the bunny. Like and that's why it's so meaningful when they like so because Pond has shown back up, right? Because remember, we're at the point in the show where he's disappeared because he's upset because he thinks that Tanateep has gone back to this girl.
Yes.
And then he shows back up, and it's as Tanateep is leaving in this outfit, and he's looking very dapper.
He's so cute.
And
which, after being in Thailand, I am even more morally offended that anybody would wear a sweater or a turtleneck in Thailand.
the number of although Chiang Mai is supposed to be cooler, right? Isn't that
I think
the
a
whole
little
thing?
cooler.
But anyways, the number of sweaters Tanateep wears in this.
But I imagine cooler in Thailand is like 70 degrees.
Also,
and, like,
the problem in
50%
Thailand
humidity.
actually is not the heat; it's the humidity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's like just 60% humidity.
Right. Anyways, they don't speak, and they like almost ignore each other, and they walk past each other, and we don't bump shoulders, but we like brush shoulders.
Yes.
And then our pinkies catch.
Mock catches him.
Our pinkies catch. It's like a weird like upside down like this situation, and they're like facing like the other side, and it's like it's so fun, and they just stand there for a minute, and the look on both their faces, and just like then you see this scene of like Mock in the car like driving away, and you're like,
the moment I need you, pave the way for pinky touches for the rest
truly
of BL.
I mean, their pinky promise agenda is strong.
I mean, because in the second season,
oh my god, it's unrelenting.
So do you want to change, or should we just stay?
We're gonna
we'll post the photos in our
Heartlands and we'll post our Heartlands beach photo shoot situation,
because in the second season, which comes out in September of 2020, so we got the first season in February of 2020. We of course had to wait,
and in between that they somehow managed, I think, to do after this they somehow managed amidst the pandemic to do a fan meeting.
Who knows?
Leave it to Star Hunter to figure out those logistics.
Well, because remember when we were locked down,
Thailand we kept switching.
Open. It was wild.
They locked down first, and we weren't locked down yet, and then we locked down, and then they had slowly opened back up, and then they locked back to I do remember
it was
like wild. We kept switching back and
forth. Because when I got into BL, I was like, it's crazy watching Thailand be so open
because we were so locked down.
It was crazy. So it came out in September 2020, and it has the addition. So we
have the subtraction of God and Tongue.
Right. So we only have Bay, Mock, Boston, and then we get the introduction of the classic actor who plays the role of
I'm coming for your man.
Yes. In every show he's ever played in. Jimmy, played by AA.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if his name is AA or if it's because they capitalize both A's. So it'd be really funny if it was
Okay. Okay. I was trying to find the synopsis.
It's after September 2020.
I didn't think that was a whole synopsis.
That's it. That's all they give you.
Okay. Synopsis.
Go ahead.
Listen, it's not incorrect.
No, it's hilarious. Go ahead.
I feel like God wrote this.
Probably.
Okay. This is more ridiculous than the It. It's truly so stupid.
This is all my drama list gives me, unless like YouTube gives me something more.
But it's going to be in Thai?
Yes.
Go ahead. This is the second season of The Moment, depicting the story of the boys after the end of the first season.
Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah, you're right. It is. That's it. That's the whole thing.
That's it.
That's the whole synopsis.
Season 2. Let's see if it does give us anything. I love how shout out Line TV. This came out on Line TV.
On Line TV, RIP, pour one out for the lost homies.
Yes. The hashtags were the moment since X Viva plus jelly. This is also the introduction of the
jelly vitamins.
So many jelly vitamins.
When did Gen Y come out?
Fall of 2020, I believe.
So the same time.
I think so.
Fascinating. And I think this is why everyone was so confused by Sandy and Pond's character's name. in Gen Y? I can't remember now. But I think this is why everyone was so confused by those two characters in Gen Y is
Pi.
because
P-H-A-I.
Pi. Yeah. This is why everyone was so confused by Sandy and Pi in Gen Y is because
like they're supposed to be together.
we have already established.
I mean, they do get together eventually, kind of, not really.
No, they don't though. It's like hinted at.
Right.
This is why it's all very confusing.
November 2020.
Yeah, and this came out in September.
Yeah.
So like we have already had like a full 2 seasons of Bank Pawn.
Right.
And now like you hit Gen Y and you're like, what?
And Pawn is supposed to be magically connected to Dune.
Yes, like mystically connected to Dune.
How dare.
Which, by the way, you guys, I have heard so many people call him Dun, and we call him Dun. And
international people call him Dun.
International.
Yeah.
And I recently learned that it's Dune.
Right, which makes so much sense.
Which makes so much sense.
Tool. When you first get into BL, you're like, oh, Toll.
But it's Tool.
Then we talked to him and we realized, oh no, it's
Tool.
Because when he lived in Australia, he went by Toon. Because in Thailand, they pronounce the L as an N. Right.
Because if you watch Superboy, Pawn's name is romanized for most of Superboy as P-O-L, but they call him Pawn. And we both were like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Because also it's confusing.
Off Jumpon, right? Yeah. You pronounce Jumpon, not Jumpo.
One of the Love and the Air boys is called, his name is spelled Noeul.
Right.
But they pronounce it Nun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it looks like Noel. But it's Nun. It's amazing.
Yeah. So Dune is Dune. By the way, I found this out. Shout out Gad, because I just recently watched every single Madan Fun he ever did. And he did one with Dune Baz and Kim Cop. And the whole time Dune is like Dune. And I was like, I texted you in all caps and I was like, we've been saying his name wrong the whole time.
And it makes so much sense now. I get it. Yeah. Whatever. Okay.
Anyways, I don't know why we started talking about that.
I don't either. So the whole second season is
because we're talking about Pawn and Dune being mystically connected in Gen Y.
right.
All very confusing and weird.
A whole show that gives us a whole beach frolic.
Yes. The whole show is a beach. The show is a beach frolic.
Yes.
Oh my god, should that be merch next season? I love a beach frolic.
Yes. Done. Tell us what merch you want for
next
year. Because we, come up with ideas. You guys love that he's just going through something. That was
he's
the most
just going through
merch.
Something was the highest seller. Yeah.
I love that for us. Okay. In my notes, I have
bank Tanateep.
Period. Riding. Period. In. Period. On. Period. A. Period. Horse.
This show literally opens with Bank Tanateep on a horse riding up like a prince on the shores of the sea.
He's a prince.
On this, and then he hops off the horse. He's literally a prince. He literally rolls in as like the prince from your dreams, which in my heart is absolutely accurate. Like,
yes.
Banked.
These short, I think this is 5 episodes. It gives us every BL trope that has ever existed.
Oh yeah, and it's like whiplash watching it, but the only thing that you need to know is it literally opens by introducing Bank Tanateep as an actual prince.
He is, because we get like flashbacks and montages,
and there's like a freaking mountain behind him, and you see the ocean, and the freaking waves are washing up on the horse's hooves, and they're sand, and he's wearing this like beach explorer. He has a bandana, and like he's wearing this like khaki colored explorer jacket. Oh my god. And then like he literally, the way it opens is like Pawn is standing on the beach and he hops off the horse and walks and just hugs him. Right. And you're like, I have never
Which is a flashback.
Been made flash forward. I have never been made to have more feelings in less amount of time
than Tanateep on a horse
ever in my life.
I mean, truly. I love the tags on my drama list for the show are really funny because one of them is clingy male lead. And that truly could not be any more accurate. So the introduction of this show is that Mock has promised Bae a beach vacation
Uh-huh.
because obviously they're doing the long distance thing.
Right, they're doing. You find out that they're long distance friends. They're not in a relationship,
No.
but they're like long distance buddies that want to be more than
Right.
buddies.
They're talking.
Right,
They're
they're
in
talking.
They're in a
They're
some.
talking.
They're in a some relationship.
Yeah, they're talking. They're in a situationship.
Situationship. And then, funny enough, Boston rolls up
Right.
with his friend Jimmy, who has love at first sight. Bay.
Yes.
Which same
Duh.
name.
Well, yeah, I
Moon gun.
agree.
Truly, you lock eyes with Pawn, and you're like, yes, must take him and put him in my pocket and keep him.
We give
forever.
pats.
Yes.
We give snacks.
And so I love
give-
because Tana Teep rolls in to meet Bay with this bouquet of flowers that looks like a bridesmaid's bouquet, which is hilarious.
The fact that he brought him flowers,
it's so good because he's imagined that he's gonna see him and hand him these flowers,
and they're gonna kiss, and they're gonna,
then
and it's gonna be perfect.
And there are these other boys there
that are
and he's
pursuing
like,
him.
How dare! I mean, truly, the fact
he's like, this is our vacation.
The fact that Tana Teep has to fight off two other boys makes so much sense.
And then he makes this big deal about how like we're gonna have our separate vacations, like even though we all know each other.
If you were to have to pick between Tana Teep, Jet, and AA,
Tana Teep. That's a super easy. That I have never answered an easier question in my life. Tana Teep. Again, if you watch the Element interview, I literally turn into a cartoon character. I have heart eyes for this boy. Like Tana Teep. That's such an also objectively out of the three of them, Tana Teep I think is genuinely the most like physically attractive. Yeah. But Tana Teep is like a person. He won me over with his personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that we get the conflict in the beginning of this episode because we have the bag mix up where he's so upset because for some reason AA's bag has ended up in Bay's room, and you find out it's because like their room wasn't ready, and so like
the concierge like they looked like they knew each other or whatever.
So Mock is like, wow, you promised me this beach vacation to spend together. And
we were supposed to be together.
Oh my God,
so he is so dramatic. For such a grumpy little character, he is so dramatic. And then like he continues to be so dramatic. So like continuing, this is like a little skip ahead and we can go back if we need to, but like continuing his level of ridiculousness is at some point it's Bay's birthday.
Yes.
And he's brought him a little gift and he's so excited. And you see this scene of him in his hotel room and he's practicing how to say hi.
Happy birthday.
And happy birthday. Yeah.
Yes. It's
and he's like, and it is the cute, like he's really going through it over like the best way to say happy birthday.
It's so cute.
And he tries all of these different ways and you can see him like he's looking in the mirror and he's like, that's weird. And he just like doesn't love, and he's just like, he has placed so much importance on saying happy birthday. It's the cutest thing I ever saw in my whole life.
Relatable because the amount of times we went through it over saying hello to these boys.
Yeah.
I get it.
I do get it.
Yeah, so I think the next scene is like them on this cute little boat, like boat restaurant situation.
I love it.
It's so cool. They're having soju. They're playing Truth or Dare.
Yes.
Boston is going to get to the bottom.
We get a surprise appearance by Big, who is one of my favorite Star Hunter managers / social media stars.
Influencer. Net idol is what they call him in Thailand.
Yes. Big also has a show behind the paywall where Big and I forget the other person's name take like Star Hunter boys to like go do activities a la Let's Talk BL. And it's a really fun show. Like Big is so cool. Yeah. So you get an appearance by Big. Truly, we were rewatching this and we saw Big pop up in the background and we both just scream, Big! Like, and Big is the nicest and she's like so cool. Always has the best outfits. Everything about Big is good.
But this scene is great because you get Boston trying to get to Mock's intentions.
Yes.
Because obviously it's his love rival.
Right.
And he's like, what do you want with my boy?
Yeah.
And it's just utter nonsense.
And so this is after them drinking wine, looking at the stars. So something that we skipped is we get a scene where we are recreating our star bonding moment.
Right, because you have Mock laying on this lounge chair and is like, whenever I feel stressed, I lay down and look at the stars like you taught me to. Oh my God. I mean, yes.
He's my favorite person in the whole world.
I love it so much. And so the first thing I was like, oh my gosh, he's wearing all white and he's about to drink some red wine.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, there's a stain of red wine on him in the scene.
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
I will say, Tanateep from season 1 to season 2 is styled excellently from start to finish. Also, a funny note about this is I was watching the behind the scenes for this whole series because they're also behind the paywall on Star Hunter. Again, every piece of content behind there is amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember it's funny because we were watching it and you were like, oh my God, they used actual wine. And I was like, they didn't actually.
I know.
I found out that they used Tipco,
Shout out
grape
Pentagon.
juice. Yeah, Universe for Life.
We finally got to try Tipco because Pentagon is the Tipco the Tipco brand
ambassadors in Korea.
And we were like, we want to try Tipco. And
you can't get it in America. And so
nowhere.
we finally got to Thailand and bought 2 giant jugs of Tipco.
And it's just juice.
I thought it was good.
It was good.
It was delicious.
But it's juice. We were like, oh. But yes, the Tipco looked so much like wine.
Yeah, you were impressed. And it was funny because in the behind the scenes when they're pouring it, Tanateep was like, oh, I thought it was going to be real wine. I'm bummed. Because I think another thing people forget is that most of these Superboys are old for BL. They're not old, but they're like in their mid-20s.
Yeah.
So, right, like when Tanateep was on Superboy, he was 26.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Is he 28 now?
Yeah.
Almost 29? Wow.
No, he's turning 28 this year.
Oh, okay. So you're doing like 25 because this was 2020.
Yeah, 25, 26.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere around there. But yeah, so like, I mean, like he's an adult and like Pon's an adult and
you're beach frolicking.
Like the youngest Superboy, I believe, was Tung.
Yeah,
Tung was 16
and Graphic.
And Graphic was young too.
Baby.
Tung and Graphic.
He was in the hospital the entire time.
Oh yeah, poor sweet Graphic. Who else? Oh, Tora went to the hospital during Superboy, remember? Superboy was intense.
Right, and they were like, oh, you lost weight. Maybe you should go back to the hospital. Like, oh my God.
Someone calls Kat fat during that show, and I have never been so morally offended because Kat has had a true.
Okay, this is not a Superboy series Sunday, which we will absolutely do.
Oh.
Truly,
yes,
ridiculous.
He looks at the stars. We have a recreation, and so the trope in this season is not a fall almost kiss.
Right.
It's a fall asleep on each other.
Right,
like we fake fall asleep on each other.
They chugged this wine and is like leaning in
to maybe kiss.
But
instead of it's not a fall, it's a I fall asleep.
Yeah.
We've progressed from fall to fall asleep.
But what we haven't learned is that they've pinky touched while laying on these
which gets us to our season 1 connect.
June Mai Kotongfa. This paved the way for you.
You're welcome, Chris and Pisha.
Probably the most traumatizing pinky touch in all of BL because
I do remember
Tale of a Thousand Stars was a very, very sweet one.
I remember screeching the first time I watched that. And I remember being like, that is the most graphic scene I've ever seen in my whole life. It was weirdly graphic and I don't enjoy it.
I know, we should have yelled at Chris and Portia more about.
We had other things to talk about.
So this sweet little scene. I mean, truly just Tanateep and Pawn interacting. They have such natural chemistry.
They do.
And that's why this show
sweetly at each other.
This show is so sweet because like we get a would we get a kiss in the first season?
Well, you don't during the show. They roll it as like a post finale credit where like in the bedroom that first night they do actually kiss.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this is another one of those examples that like you don't need a kiss scene or a sex scene.
If they had never kissed throughout the whole thing, I wouldn't have been.
I would have been totally fine.
Yeah, like Cherry Magic is kind of the same situation,
yes.
And yeah, like just the way they look at each other, like the sweetness that they have with each other, and the earnestness. Yeah. And again, part of it is because like I can't imagine having watched Superboy and then watched this right after,
I mean,
because
you had
now
to know
that
it was
I've
coming though.
right, well, but you thought it was going to come for Bankbo,
Right.
because Bankbo are the only ones that during Superboy, KO was like, I'm gonna make a show for you.
Yeah.
Like, he fully said that, like, flat to their faces. He was like, I'm gonna make a show for you, because, and I'm only part of the way through all the like daily lives from Superboy because they did them daily.
I wonder why they didn't give this show to Bankbo. Would have been magic.
I have a theory. I have a theory as to why.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
the storyline they got was pretty incredible for their acting ability. Like,
Okay.
they needed something meatier, I think.
Yeah. I have a feeling that the decision was made based on the spice level. But because watching Superboy, like, Bank and Bonus Banktora very clearly Bankby song. And Bonus very clearly like buddy up to each other very quick, and they like admire each other, and they like working together. And then in the finale, it's very sweet. Like, Bank is allowed, so Bonus got eliminated from Superboy, and Bonus has already been the cloak of invisibility.
Y'all go.
You have to watch the show. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Insane. Shout out to KO. That man knows what he's doing.
But so each of the boys in the finale were allowed to have one guest perform with them. They all had solo shows. And so, like, Tana Teep had Copter and his sister.
So sweet.
So that's what Tana Teep's special guest was, Copter. And then, like, Cat
had his mom.
God's special guest was his mom.
Shout out Sia, because if you want to win the show,
you bring your mom on stage. Yeah. So God had his mom, and like someone else had Kim in.
Yeah, they like,
so like everybody chose like
the big boys.
Yeah, the big boys or their mom. And then Banktora is standing on this stage, and the host, the little host man is like, "Who's your special guest?" And as soon as the words, like, he said, "People."
I mean, it's so cute.
It was like, and then he starts talking about how like he admires him and he always wanted to work with him, and now he has the chance, and they kill it in that finale. But also, that is the only time I went slightly Delulu. Like, I was watching it and I was like,
because we had already met them at this point, and we're like, no, like, there's like,
they're just really good actors. They're a great ship. They're great friends. But
during the show,
I went slightly Delulu watching this finale, and I was like, maybe they are dating in real life.
Maybe they do want to kiss.
I've recovered from my Delulu. Don't worry, everyone. But after that, everyone made comments, and KO, they were the only couple where O was like, I'm gonna give you a show.
Yeah.
Like, he flat out said that to them afterwards.
So the fact that Pon and Tana Teep got a show,
Pon and Tana Teep getting a show first, but also you like, as far as I can tell, those two were never even established as like buddy during the show.
I feel like Tana Teep is the type of boy that could have
chemistry with anyone.
And Pon too, I think.
Yeah, but the two Banks, in fact, had like a lot of chemistry, because they were like Bank Binung and Bank Bisong. They were like B1 and B2. All the boys had a number.
I'm ready for a ship to have the same name. That would actually be
so fun.
Like,
oh wait, Boom. The Booms.
But he's like Big Boom. Like, Big Boom is his actual name, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
B squared.
The Booms. Yeah. The Booms.
I can't wait for their show.
Anyways, I feel like I can't imagine watching the moment after, like, if you had watched Superboy live, because I feel like it might have been low-key confusing. Like, you might be watching it and being like, this is a really good show, this is a really good story, and then like I feel like you might get taken out of the moment because you're like, wait, Pon and Bank,
but they kill it
because
then the next whole episode is them having a full-on beach frolic.
Oh yes,
they bike.
We bike down a path. We run down a path. There's rain. It's raining.
In the ocean.
We kiss in the rain. We kiss under an umbrella in the rain.
Needs to be burned.
Okay, if you watch the behind the scenes, you see the kiss.
Yes. You see the kiss in the show too.
Right. But you see it like.
But there's a second kiss that supposedly happens when the umbrella falls down.
So in the behind the scenes are actually so funny because we have a special guest appearance in this show.
When Copter first shows up at the end, I scream.
Yeah. So Copter is in the moment
It's
since.
so good.
Because Copter and Tana Teep did the OST.
Okay.
Yeah. So Copter is in the show.
Copter's
behind
character
the
in this show is
scenes-
hilarious because he's been hired to take photos
Yes. He's paparazzo.
of Pon and Tana Teep
Yeah.
on their whole beach frolic, which is
Right.
hilarious.
And so the behind the scenes for the scene of like we're kissing in the rain with the umbrella or whatever, after literally the scene of them frolicking down that path riding bikes, and there's like flower petals falling on them. I'm like, this is the most extra thing I've ever seen, and it's perfect. But the behind the scenes for that, for the kiss, they show you Copter watching it, like Copter's on set, and they
So
watch
cute.
it, and Copter is watching it, and literally they walk away and they walk, so they kiss, the Tana Teep and Pon kiss, and it's so sweet. And
They're
Copter like
adorable.
cheers for them, like when they do it and when they finish, like they throw their arms up.
Little did Copter know what
And
was coming.
Copter walks away, and Copter says there's some, I think it's like a Star Hunter staff that's like filming for social or whatever on their phone, and Copter walks away, and he and they're so overwhelmed, like Copter is so overwhelmed, and they just go, I'm gonna die of a heart attack. And I was like, yeah,
Mood.
me too. Copter is such a Copter understands us, like the royal us, like the BL world us. Copter gets us.
So after they've done this beach frolic, because they're avoiding Jimmy, who has staked out Bay's room to give him, because he's like cute boy must win over this entire time, and Bay is like,
I
no,
understand
no.
that.
Yeah.
That, you know,
But Bay is like, I'm gonna go frolic with Mock because obviously,
because if given the choice, Tana Teep is always the answer.
yes. And so at the end of this, Mock walks him to his room, and he's like, do you want me to come in? Do you want me to stay? And he goes, good night. No. And then truly, I imagine this is like terrifying for you the first time you watch this, because you're like, what is going to happen? Because then we cut to a moment later, and Mock is opening the door to Bay standing there, and it is the most seductive scene for Pon to probably ever play, because it's lit very like dimly, and it's so dramatic. He's looking down in like serious fashion, and then he like looks up at him, and he's like, he's got like sex eyes, really. He's like, I'm gonna bang this boy.
Truly, like, I have always been a soft stan, and I have always just had a hard time. So like, for example, Big Dragon is airing right now, and the very first episode with the spicy scene, there's footage of it. I am so red, and I'm just covering I just can't handle it. And so yes, so in that moment, I was like,
but in true the moment I need you, or the moment fashion, he just lays with him and stares lovingly into his eyes until he falls asleep. Truly, I was like,
everything I want.
I was like, are they gonna cuddle? Are they gonna hold hands? No, clear. Like Bank is just sweet. Like, or Mock is just like, lay with me until I fall asleep, and Bay is sitting up on his like shoulder, and just like they're making eye contact until he falls asleep.
It is truly like, this is one of my favorite bed scenes in any BL ever. This is like, it's almost like this show is
Dune Bass. I mean, truly, Star Hunter knows how to do a fluffy bed scene.
Yeah,
they do Dune Bass do cuddle, but Pon Bank Pon do not touch.
No, but it's so just like, it's so
and then
sweet
once
and
he
fluffy.
Falls asleep, he doesn't night caress him.
No, there's no night caressing, which everybody knows I hate the night caressing.
He literally tucks him in.
He's so earnest. They're just so earnest and sweet.
And then as Bay leaves the room, you see Mock smile.
It
the sweetest
honestly,
sugar-coated sugar on top of sugar.
sugar-coated
The
sugar.
most sugar that's ever
This show
existed.
gives me the warm and fuzzies. Like my whole body just feels fuzzy when I watch the show, when I think about the show. And that's the same feeling that Bang Team gives me. Like I have so much joy just in my life.
Yes.
Anytime
It's
I think
so
about Bang
ridiculous.
Team, when I interact with Bang Team, like it was like
Sugar-coated sugar.
the overwhelming sugar-coated sugar joy.
So good.
Like so we've told these kinds of stories before that like we were when there was a boy that we interviewed in Thailand that we like specifically liked,
Yeah.
like especially that we like especially liked, we would try and be like very respectful of like the other people there and not be really obvious about like I want a selfie with you, right? Like and so we would try and like
unless it was like way after the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
We would try and be very like tactful about it. And so it was difficult in the Element one because we're all in a room together.
So difficult.
And it like there were a lot of people. So I think that helped us is
Yeah.
like there were a lot of people and a lot of things going on because there's 5 of them, 2 of us, Mimi, Renee and Robbie, Big.
They also had another interview after us, and so
they were having to change clothes.
They were coming to like set up and do all that kind of stuff.
It did help us, but we both in that moment, like we knew we needed selfies with 2 specific people. And so I was the most nervous about Tana. I was so nervous about Tana. You just grabbed Bonus. You had
Bonus
you were
was like looking in the mirror, fixing his face, and I was like, "Bonus, can I get a photo with you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I've posted it before.
Yeah. We've posted these, but I was like really nervous about like, okay, when's my moment? How am I going to do this? Because I wanted to be tactful.
Nice.
I wanted to be tactful, and I didn't want it to be like weird that I wasn't asking the other boys for solo selfies, right? And so I caught him right because they changed clothes for the second interview, and I caught him right as he was about to walk out the door because I was like, this is my chance. Like I gotta ask now or I'm not asking, right? Because like we had dinner plans that we had to get to and like all this stuff, and so I was like, oh wait, like in like this tiniest like I spoke in tiny font. It's like, oh wait. Which is so weird because he was so nice. And I was like,
it just feels weird because you're asking a stranger, like we're not Thai, and we know that in Thailand it's really common for you to just ask a stranger to take a photo with you.
But we've also just spent an hour and a half trying to create this like friendly
we're
vibe.
interviewers. Yeah, like it's a whole
so it's
thing.
like it is fan artist, but like we're trying to make it friendly so the interview flows well, right?
Yeah.
And so like we've just spent an hour and a half trying to be like we're fans, but we're friends. Like, this is fun. And so it's like, okay, now I'm switching back into like full fan mode, right? And so I was like, can I take a selfie with just you? Because we had just taken a bunch of pictures as like a group.
I'm sure because the copter thing happened after this, that they were like, oh, they don't care that much about us.
Right.
Because
we lost it over copter. When copter came in and was waiting, copter waited to speak to us, which still does not compute. And so yes, but this is the level of sweetness that Bang Tanity brings. Is like, again, anytime I spoke with him or looked at him or thought about him, just like the warm and fuzzies, he is the sweetest, giggliest boy. He's so charming. But in that moment, I asked for the picture, and like he didn't even he took my phone out of my hand. He was like, I'm holding the phone. I'm like, oh, can I get like a picture, like a selfie with just you? And he's like, yeah, plucks it out my hand. I didn't even get a chance. And he like the pictures are so funny. We've posted these before. Like it looks like he asked me for a picture. And it's just because he is just he is a sunbeam in human form. Like this man is sunshine embodied.
Which is why this show makes so much sense for him. Because obviously, like you give this sweet boy the BO.
And the idea of him falling asleep and enjoy like that so what good. He was after there was to have like a boy that he likes just like stay with him until he falls asleep. It's just like honestly, it's the sweetest thing that ever
It's so
happened.
good.
When we were doing that stupid TikTok, we both got Tana teeped,
Oh,
which
so
was
good.
like wild. Like he's
He's so
fluff.
sweet.
He's fluffy. He's a ray of sunshine. He is a ray of fuzzy, warm sunshine in human form.
I love that they wrap up this show with, I remember watching this the first time, and the gift that Mock gives Bay for his birthday
right, yeah.
is a flash drive. And I'm like, what? And so he's, I love how Bay is like, how am I going to watch this? And Mock pulls out a computer in the
'Cause he's very
brightest
prepared.
sunlight on a beach. And I'm
Yeah.
like, he's never going to be able to see this. And truly, I'm sure the camera operator was so pissed because he was like, you can't see anything. Like, it's so dark. But you know, like, you kind of see that, like, they're photos that have been taken, which is when you get the copter
appearance.
revelation,
So Copter pops up,
which is
and
very
yes,
cute.
Tana Mock has hired Copter
Yes.
to take photos of them
the whole time. It's so cute and ridiculous because the whole show, Bay feels like someone's watching
him. Yeah.
And so you're like, oh God, are we gonna get like a lovely rider
Right. We thought it was
situation?
gonna be like a weird thing because you also can hear like clicks.
Right.
And you're
You're
like,
like,
is
"What's
this gonna be
happening?"
like a weird thing?
So
And
funny.
then you see when the Copter reveal finally happens, it's Copter popping out from behind a tree.
And Copter looks amazing.
And it looks like super creepy and weird.
It's so funny.
And then you find out. And so, like, in that moment, you're like, okay, wait, we're in the like last episode. Like, how are they gonna develop this like creepy stalker thing? And then you find out that no, it's actually Mock is stalking himself.
And then they become boyfriends and live happily ever after.
And we pinky promise for life. We walk around holding pinkies. For
The other
rest
thing
of our
that I
lives.
really love in this show is Jet is a mood the entire show. He's so grumpy. He's so upset that like he hasn't gotten the boy. But during the volleyball scene, which we didn't talk about, the volleyball scene was very cute, a la Junmai Kotong Fa. Also,
yes. Do we know what beach they went to in this one?
I don't think so. And so there's a moment during the beach scene where we find out at the end, Boston has taken a photo of their shadows because he was standing away from Bay.
Yeah.
Bay was beside him but back, and their shadows were together, and he lays his head towards so that his shadow is resting on Bay's shoulder. And you're like, relatable.
Honestly, that's
like,
such a mood.
All the fans who do like the hand heart and like the person that they're hand hearting is like far away. It's like so relatable because you're like, yes. I also would take. We've done that. We did that at the Pentagon show because the first Pentagon show we went to, we were basically on the stage.
Right.
Like, we had front row. It was
crazy.
In a theater. And so we could touch the stage.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, Ayla, we should turn around and like take a selfie of us with them behind us in hopes that maybe they would even come up.
Like look.
I feel like we've seen that happen before in certain things where if you take a selfie with somebody behind you, maybe they pop up because truly Bank Mondop, every time we took any photo, anything. That man
has some sort of crazy
when a
sixth
camera
sense
is on.
When a camera turns on, because we would be like selfieing
during
and doing whatever when we were in Ayutthaya. Anytime. You just like every photo that we take, there's like a stream of photos of like Bank Mondop coming into frame. He's so cute.
And so so we took this photo and there's just like boys behind us. So you get like a photo with your person, boy. Even if they don't know about it.
Yeah.
Which sounds creepy, but it's not.
It's not.
But the shadow is very sweet.
Yeah.
Poor Boston. He eventually gets Jame. It's fine. And Big
Jet gets Jame.
Yeah, Jet gets Jame. My matchmate, we can't find it anywhere, which is what we wanted to do.
No, it's not available currently anywhere because RIP Pour Not for the Lost Homies Line TV.
Yeah. So Sugar Coated Sugar. If you just want fluff, I've rewatched this show a lot of times before it went behind the Star Hunter paywall because I think it was just on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then once Line went down, Star Hunter pulled a bunch of their programming onto YouTube and put it behind a paywall, and that's where they started releasing their shows. And so at the moment I Need You in the Moment sense, just so good. It honestly it does remind me a lot of Ingredients, where it's just a quick watch. It's something if you need I have moments where like I'm going to bed, but like I don't want to go to sleep yet, and I just want to like throw something on.
Right.
Like this is a great because it's just sugar coated
Sugar-coated sugar, sweetness, love. It's
so
the
good.
warm and fuzzies in TV show form. I can't even explain how much I love this show.
It's so good. In the comments, tell us what other shows you want us to.
Yeah, because we're in
Series
this
Sunday.
weird situation where like everything's gonna end all at once, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna be back in a situation where nothing
Yeah.
is ending.
So if there's like an old show
Yeah.
or like an off the beaten path show, like there's so many shows. It's cool because for the series Sunday, this is definitely for our listeners because people listen to these and have told us like I wasn't sure about this show, and then I listened to your series Sunday and I was like, oh sure, maybe I'll give it a chance, and you're like, what, why are you listening to us? But it's a fun like that's how friends get other friends into BL.
Things. Yeah.
And
It's like you
so
should give this a chance.
yeah, so if you have a show that like you've watched and you're like, oh, this is underrated, I really want someone else's opinion about it, like
I want to know.
let us know what we should
Because yeah,
watch.
we're about everything will end, and so we'll have a bunch of current series Sundays to do, and then we'll be in the same position
Yeah.
where we're like,
especially through the
nothing's
holidays
over.
and the end of the year, things start wrapping
Yeah.
up, and then also GMMTV 2023 is coming soon. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm like counting down the days. Let's do it. This has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL.